Dear listeners, I welcome you to my channel. Leave your comments and impressions, I value your opinion. The dim lights of O'Malley's pub cast long shadows over the polished wooden tables and stools. The chatter of patrons, the clinking of glasses, and the low hum of the jukebox playing classic rock created a comfortable ambience, one that I often found myself sinking into after a long day. I sat at the bar, nursing a beer, half listening to the man beside me. His name was Dave, someone I knew only in passing, a friend of a friend who seemed to be a permanent fixture in the local bar scene. Dave was in the middle of one of his usual monologues, bragging about his exploits with women. He leaned in, his breath reeking of whiskey and cigarettes, a self-satisfied smirk plastered across his face. And then, there was this one night, he said, his voice lowering as if sharing a cherished secret. It was the best night of my life. Met this absolute stunner at a hotel bar. She had this long, auburn hair and a smile that could melt ice. We hit it off right away. I nodded absently, taking a sip of my beer. These stories were all the same, different women, same bravado. But then he mentioned something that made my heart skip a beat. She was married, but she said her husband was always working, never had time for her. So she wanted to have some fun. Dave continued, his eyes glazing over as he reminisced. Man, the things she did. My grip on the beer bottle tightened. A chill ran down my spine. Auburn hair, married, complaining about a husband always working. My mind raced. Could it be? What's her name? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, my heart pounding in my chest. He chuckled, clearly enjoying the attention. Oh, I probably shouldn't say. But what the hell, right? Her name's Lisa. I nearly choked on my beer. Lisa. My wife. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me, followed by a burning rage. The room seemed to spin for a moment as I fought to keep my composure. I needed to know more, needed to be sure. Lisa, huh? I forced a casual tone. What else can you tell me about her? Dave's eyes twinkled mischievously. Man, she was something else. We spent the whole night in that hotel room. She kept saying she never felt so alive. And that body, damn. I still think about her sometimes. She said her husband was some big shot in finance, always traveling for work. My knuckles turned white round the bottle. It was her. No doubt about it. The betrayal cut deep, and I felt a burning need for revenge growing inside me. Sounds like quite a night, I said, managing a weak smile. Yeah, man. Best night of my life, he repeated, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. I excused myself and left the bar, the cool night air doing little to calm my fury. As I walked the dark streets back to my apartment, my mind raced with thoughts of betrayal and vengeance. This wasn't something I could ignore. Lisa had crossed a line, and I was determined to make her pay. When I got home, I found Lisa sitting on the couch, reading a book. She looked up and smiled, but I could see the guilt in her eyes. Maybe it had always been there, and I was just too blind to see it. Hey, honey. How was your night? She asked, her voice tinged with a nervous edge. I clenched my fists, fighting the urge to confront her right then and there. I needed to be smart about this. Same old, I replied, forcing a smile. Just had a few drinks with Dave. Her smile faltered slightly. Dave, how's he doing? Same as always. Full of stories, I said, watching her closely. She nodded, looking relieved. That's Dave for you. I couldn't stand being in the same room with her. I muttered something about being tired and headed to the bedroom. As I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I began to formulate a plan. I would make sure Lisa regretted every moment of her betrayal. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about reclaiming my dignity in my life. The next few days passed in a haze of planning and subtle investigation. I needed evidence, something concrete to confront her with. I went through her phone, her emails, looking for anything that would confirm her infidelity. And I found it. Messages, photos, everything I needed to know about her affair with Dave. Armed with this knowledge, I set my plan into motion. I started by hiring a private investigator, someone who could dig deeper, find out if there were more secrets Lisa was hiding. I wanted to make sure I had all the information before confronting her. Next, I started moving our money around, securing my finances. I couldn't let her walk away with half of everything I'd worked so hard for. This was going to be a clean break, on my terms. Finally, I arranged for us to have a weekend getaway. A chance to reconnect, as I put it. Lisa seemed genuinely excited, thinking it was a sign that things were getting better. Little did she know, it was the beginning of the end. As we drove to the secluded cabin in the woods, I couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. This was it. The moment I'd been waiting for. Lisa was going to pay for her betrayal, and I was going to enjoy every moment of it. The cabin was perfect, isolated, quiet, and far from prying eyes. I made sure everything was in place, from the hidden cameras to the staged evidence of her affair. This was going to be a weekend she'd never forget. That night, as we sat by the fire, sipping wine, I looked into her eyes and saw the woman I once loved, now a stranger. The time had come. "Lisa," I said, my voice steady. "There's something we need to talk about." She looked at me, her expression shifting from curiosity to concern. "What is it?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "I know about Dave. I know everything." Her face went pale, and she opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The guilt and fear in her eyes told me everything I needed to know. "You thought you could betray me and get away with it," I continued, my voice cold. "But you were wrong. This is just the beginning, Lisa. I hope you're ready for what's coming." As I spoke, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. This was just the start of my revenge, and I was going to make sure it was a journey neither of us would ever forget. The tension in the cabin is palpable. Lisa's eyes dart around, searching for an escape, her breath coming in shallow gasps. I watch her, my own heart pounding, but I maintain my calm facade. The fire crackles behind me, casting flickering shadows on the wooden walls. "James," she begins, her voice trembling. "I can explain." I raise a hand to stop her. "Don't, just don't. I don't want your excuses." Her eyes well up with tears, but I feel no sympathy. The betrayal cuts too deep. I get up from my chair and move closer, towering over her. "Do you think I'm stupid, Lisa? That I wouldn't find out?" She shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted to hurt you." "You did," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. "And now, you're going to pay for it." A knock on the door interrupts the moment. Lisa looks confused, but I feel a cold satisfaction. Right on time. I open the door to reveal Mark, the private investigator I hired. He steps inside, his expression professional but hard. "This is Mark," I say, turning to Lisa. "He's been following you for weeks." Mark nods curtly. "I've gathered more than enough evidence. Phone records, photos, videos, everything." Lisa's face drains of color. "James, please." I cut her off again. "No, Lisa. You don't get to beg now." Mark hands me a folder. I flip through it, showing Lisa the damning evidence. Photos of her with Dave, texts arranging their meetings, even a video clip from the hotel lobby. She sinks to the floor, sobbing. "I'm sorry, James. I really am." "Sorry won't fix this," I say, my voice ice cold. "Now get up. We're not done yet." Reluctantly, she rises, her eyes pleading with me. But I've come too far to back down now. "We're going to the living room," I say, motioning towards the hallway. As we walk, I notice her glancing at the front door, but she knows better than to try and run. Mark is right behind us, a silent enforcer. In the living room, another surprise awaits Lisa. 2 more people are sitting on the couch. Sarah, my sister, and her husband Tom. Their faces are grave, and Lisa's eyes widen in shock. "What are they doing here?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. "They're here to witness this," I say. "To understand what you've done and why I'm doing this." Sarah stands up, her eyes blazing with anger. "How could you, Lisa? After everything James has done for you." Tom shakes his head, looking disgusted. "We trusted you, welcomed you into our family, and this is how you repay us?" Lisa's sobs intensify, and she collapses into a chair, burying her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry," she repeats over and over. "Sorry isn't enough," I say, feeling the rage bubble up again. "You need to understand the consequences of your actions." I turn to Mark. "Do you have the documents?" He nods and hands me another folder. Inside are the divorce papers, pre-filled and ready to be signed. I place them on the table in front of Lisa. "Sign these," I say. "We're done." She looks up, her face a mask of horror. "James, no, please. Don't do this." "You brought this on yourself," I reply. "Sign them or I'll make sure everyone knows what you've done. Your friends, your family, your job. Everyone." Her hands shake as she takes the pen. With a final, defeated sob, she signs the papers. I take them and hand them back to Mark. It's over, Lisa, I say, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. You need to leave. Mark steps forward, handing her a small suitcase. Pack your things. You have 10 minutes. Lisa stumbles to the bedroom, still crying. I turn to Sarah and Tom, feeling a wave of exhaustion wash over me. Thank you for being here, I say quietly. Sarah hugs me, her embrace warm and comforting. You did the right thing, James. She didn't deserve you. Tom nods in agreement. If you need anything, we're here for you. I appreciate their support, but I feel a deep emptiness inside. My marriage is over, my trust shattered. The only thing keeping me going is the desire to rebuild, to find some semblance of normalcy again. When Lisa returns, her face is blotchy and tear-streaked, but she says nothing. Mark escorts her out, ensuring she leaves without causing more trouble. The door closes behind them with a finality that echoes through the cabin. I sink into a chair, feeling the weight of the past few days crash down on me. Sarah and Tom sit beside me, their presence a small comfort in the chaos. What now? Sarah asks gently. I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. Now, I move on. Somehow. Tom pats my shoulder. One step at a time, man. You'll get through this. As the fire dies down, the room falls into a somber silence. I know the road ahead won't be easy, but with the support of my family and the resolve I feel growing inside me, I'm determined to face whatever comes next. The night stretches on, filled with quiet conversation and the occasional tear. But as the first light of dawn breaks through the windows, I feel a flicker of hope. This is just the beginning of a new chapter in my life, one that I will write on my own terms. The days following Lisa's departure are a blur. I go through the motions of work and daily life, but my mind is always elsewhere. The weight of betrayal is a constant companion, gnawing at my thoughts. I know I need to focus to regain control of my life, and part of that means uncovering the full extent of Lisa's deceit. One afternoon, I find myself back at O'Malley's pub, sitting at the same bar stool where Dave had unknowingly revealed Lisa's infidelity. The bar is quieter today, the usual crowd missing. As I sip my beer, I spot Dave entering. His eyes meet mine, and he hesitates for a moment before making his way over. Hey James, he greets, a bit more reserved than usual. Mind if I join you? I gesture to the stool beside me. Go ahead. Dave sits down, ordering a whiskey. You look like you've been through hell, man. Everything all right? I study him for a moment, wondering how much to reveal. Not really. I found out my wife was cheating on me. Dave's eyes widen, genuine surprise on his face. Damn, that's rough. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Well, it gets worse. I continue, my voice steady. Turns out, she was with you. The color drains from Dave's face. He stares at me stunned. Lisa? Your wife is Lisa. I nod, watching his reaction closely. I found out everything, Dave. The hotel, the texts, all of it. He swallows hard, guilt flashing in his eyes. James, I swear I didn't know. If I had, I never would have. I hold up a hand to stop him. I believe you, but I need your help now. Dave looks confused but nods slowly. Anything, man. What do you need? I need to know everything she told you, I say, every detail, no matter how small. There might be more to this than just an affair. Dave takes a deep breath, nodding. All right. Let's talk. For the next hour, Dave recounts his encounters with Lisa. He describes their conversations, the things she said about her life and our marriage. As he speaks, I take mental notes, piecing together a clearer picture of her deceit. It becomes apparent that Lisa's infidelity wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment decision. There were layers to it, motivations I hadn't considered. She mentions something about meeting someone else, too. Dave says, his brow furrowed in thought. A guy named Tom. Said he was a friend of yours. My blood runs cold. Tom, my brother-in-law. Could he be involved in this too? The thought is almost too much to bear, but I know I have to follow every lead. Thanks, Dave, I say, finishing my beer. You've been helpful. Dave nods, looking relieved. I hope you find the answers you're looking for, James. And again, I'm sorry. I leave the bar, my mind racing with new information. If Tom is involved, This betrayal runs deeper than I ever imagined. I need to talk to him. I can't confront him directly. Not yet. I decide to visit Sarah first, hoping she might shed some light on her husband's potential involvement. When I arrive at Sarah's house, she greets me with a warm hug. "James, it's good to see you. How are you holding up?" "I'm managing," I reply, forcing a smile. "I actually wanted to talk to you about something. Is Tom home?" Sarah shakes her head. "No, he's at work." "Why? Is everything okay?" I hesitate, not wanting to alarm her. "I just need to ask him a few questions about something Dave mentioned. Can you let me know when he gets home?" She looks concerned but nods. "Of course. Are you sure you're all right?" "Yeah," I say, trying to sound convincing. "I just need to clear a few things up." Later that evening, I receive a text from Sarah. "Tom's home." I make my way over, my heart pounding. As I approach the house, I see Tom through the window, sitting on the couch with a drink in hand. I take a deep breath and knock on the door. Tom opens the door, surprise flashing across his face. "James, what brings you here?" "We need to talk," I say, stepping inside. "It's important." Tom glances at Sarah, who looks worried but nods. "Okay," he says, closing the door behind me. "Let's talk." We sit in the living room, the tension thick. I decide to get straight to the point. "Tom, I found out that Lisa was cheating on me, with Dave." Tom's eyes widen. "Jesus, James, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "That's not all," I continue, watching his reaction closely. "Dave mentioned that Lisa talked about someone else, someone named Tom." Tom's face goes pale. "What? No, that can't be right." "Are you sure?" I press. "Because if you know anything, now's the time to come clean." Tom shakes his head, looking genuinely bewildered. "I swear, James, I don't know anything about that." Sarah, who has been listening quietly, suddenly speaks up. "Wait, Tom. Remember a few months ago? You mentioned meeting a woman named Lisa at a work event. Could it be the same person?" Tom's eyes widen with realization. "Oh my God, I completely forgot about that. She was at a conference I attended, but it was just a brief meeting, nothing more." "Are you sure?" I ask, my mind racing. "Take Tom. Did she say anything unusual? Did you see her again?" Tom rubs his temples, trying to remember. "No, it was just that one time. We talked about our spouses, work, the usual stuff. She seemed nice, but I never saw her again." I lean back, processing this new information. If Tom's telling the truth, then Lisa's web of lies is even more complex than I thought, but it still doesn't explain why she would mention him to Dave. "Thanks, Tom," I say, standing up. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this." He shakes his head. "It's all right. I just hope you find the answers you're looking for." As I leave Sarah and Tom's house, my phone buzzes. It's Mark, the private investigator. "James," he says when I answer. "I found something. You need to see this." "Where are you?" I ask, my heart pounding. "Meet me at your office," he replies. "I'll be there in 15 minutes. I arrive at my office just as Mark pulls up. He looks serious, holding a thick envelope. We head inside, and he spreads the contents of the envelope on my desk. Photos, documents, and a USB drive. "What's all this?" I ask, feeling a sense of dread. "It's more evidence," Mark says. "But it's not just about Lisa. It's about her entire network. She's been hiding a lot more than just an affair." I sift through the papers, my mind reeling. Financial transactions, secret meetings, connections to people I've never heard of. This isn't just infidelity. It's something much bigger, something dangerous. "We need to go to the police," I say, my voice shaking. Mark nods. "I agree. But first, we need to secure everything. Make sure nothing gets lost." As we gather the evidence, my mind races with the possibilities. What has Lisa gotten herself into? And more importantly, how deep does this conspiracy go? The sense of betrayal mixes with fear, but I know one thing for certain. I won't stop until I uncover the truth. This is just the beginning, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. The drive to the police station feels like an eternity. Mark sits beside me, the envelope of evidence clutched tightly in his hands. My mind races with questions and fears. Lisa's betrayal has transformed from a personal heartbreak into something far more sinister. What kind of danger have we been living under? When we arrive, we're directed to Detective Carter, a seasoned officer with a no-nonsense demeanor. We lay out the evidence on his desk, and he listens intently as Mark and I explain everything. This is serious, Carter says, flipping through the documents. We'll need to investigate further, but based on what you've brought us, there could be a criminal organization involved. A criminal organization? I echo, my heart pounding. How? She's a regular person. Sometimes regular people get caught up in things beyond their control, Carter says, his tone grim. We need to act quickly to ensure your safety and gather more evidence. He assigns a team to analyze the documents and the USB drive. As we wait, Carter greets his colleagues and starts coordinating a protective detail for me. The reality of the situation begins to sink in. This isn't just about revenge or betrayal anymore, it's about survival. Hours pass, and I find myself pacing the station, anxiety gnawing at my insides. Finally, Carter calls me into his office. His expression is a mix of concern and determination. We've uncovered some alarming connections, he says. Lisa was involved with a group that's been under surveillance for a while. They're suspected of money laundering and fraud. It appears she's been helping them funnel money through various accounts, including your own. I sink into a chair, my mind reeling. So she's been using me? It looks that way, Carter confirms. But there's more. We found evidence that she was planning to disappear. The affair with Dave might have been a cover, a way to distract you while she made her exit. The room spins, and I struggle to process the enormity of it all. What do we do now? We set a trap, Carter says, leaning forward. We need her to lead us to the higher-ups in this organization. If we play our cards right, we can bring them all down. How? I ask, desperation in my voice. You contact her, Carter explains. Tell her you want to meet, that you're willing to forgive her. We'll wire you up and have a team in place. If she's planning to run, she'll likely try to tie up loose ends. That's when we'll move in. I hesitate, the thought of seeing Lisa again filling me with dread. But I know it's the only way. All right, I say, my voice firm. I'll do it. We set the plan into motion. I text Lisa, asking to meet at a secluded spot we used to visit. It's a place that holds memories of happier times, and I hope it will lure her in. She responds quickly, agreeing to meet. As I prepare to leave, Mark gives me a reassuring pat on the back. You've got this, James. We'll be right there with you. The drive to the meeting spot is tense. I park the car and wait, the wire hidden under my shirt itching uncomfortably. Carter and his team are nearby, ready to swoop in at a moment's notice. Lisa arrives a few minutes later, looking haggard and anxious. She approaches cautiously, her eyes scanning the area. James, she says, her voice trembling. I'm so glad you're here. I've missed you. I force a smile, trying to mask my revulsion. Lisa, we need to talk. She nods, tears welling in her eyes. I'm so sorry for everything. I was scared and made terrible choices. But we can fix this. We can start over. I shake my head, struggling to keep my emotions in check. It's not that simple. I know about everything, Lisa. The money, the organization, all of it. Her face pales and she steps back. James, I had no choice. They threatened me. I didn't want to drag you into this. You should have trusted me, I say, my voice breaking. We could have faced it together. Before she can respond, Carter and his team move in, surrounding us. Lisa looks around in panic, realizing she's been trapped. Lisa Taylor, you're under arrest, Carter says, stepping forward with handcuffs. Lisa's eyes fill with despair as she's cuffed. James, please, I'm sorry. I love you. I turn away, unable to look at her. The weight of her betrayal is too much to bear. As the officers lead her away, I feel a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Back at the station, Carter debriefs me. We got enough to take down the entire operation. Thanks to you, we can put these criminals behind bars. I nod, feeling a hollow victory. What happens to Lisa? She'll face charges, Carter says, but given her cooperation and the circumstances, she might get a lighter sentence. I leave the station, the sun setting in the distance. The future feels uncertain, but I know I've done the right thing. As I drive home, I think about the past few weeks. The betrayal, the investigation, the truth. It's been a harrowing journey, but it's also a new beginning. When I arrive home, I find Sarah and Tom waiting for me. They envelop me in a comforting hug, offering their support and understanding. We're here for you, James, Sarah says softly. Whatever you need. Thanks, I reply, grateful for their presence. It's going to be a long road, but I'll get through it. As we sit together, talking and reminiscing, I feel a flicker of hope. Life will never be the same, but I'm ready to rebuild. The past is behind me, and the future is mine to shape. With my family by my side, I know I can face whatever comes next. And so the story ends, not with the darkness of betrayal, but with the light of a new beginning. The journey has been painful, but it's also shown me the strength I never knew I had. As I move forward, I carry the lessons of the past, determined to create a better future.